So first problem, suppose you have a double refracting crystal. Okay, you have a double refracting crystal, and this is x-axis, and this is actually what? Optic axis, and y-axis is vertical axis, and this is actually perpendicular to the optic axis. Now suppose a plane polarized ray, is incident on this double refracting crystal at an angle of 30 degree. At an angle of how much? This angle is how much? 30 degree. And amplitude of incident ray is how much? A. Okay. So the question is, what will be the ratio of amplitude, or sorry, intensity of O ray to that of E ray? How much intensity of O ray and the ratio intensity of O ray to that of E ray? So as we know, it's a very simple question, but it's a tricky question as well. As we know, when plane polarized light is incident on a double refracting crystal, it will split into two components. The ray parallel to optic axis known as E ray. So amplitude of E ray will be how much? Amplitude of E ray will be how much? So if this incident amplitude is A, then obviously the amplitude of E ray will be how much? That will be E0x, that is nothing but A cosine of theta. Theta is how much? 30 degree. So I can write A cosine of 30 degree. And we know cosine 30 is how much? Basically root 3 by 2. So I can write root 3 A by 2. So this will be the amplitude of E ray. Further, the amplitude of O ray will be how much? So I can write that amplitude of O ray is nothing but O ray is along which direction? That will be along y direction. So I can write this is O0y, and that will be nothing but A sine of theta. And theta is how much? 30 degree. So sine 30 is basically half. So I can write the amplitude of O ray will be A by 2. Okay. So now I can calculate. I know that intensity is nothing but amplitude square. Intensity is nothing but proportional to what? Amplitude square, right? So intensity of O ray will be how much? I can write that will be E0y ka square divided by amplitude of E ray. So amplitude of O ray is E0y, and that we have obtained how much value? A by 2. So I have written that intensity of O ray, that will be amplitude ka square divided by intensity of E ray, and that I can write E0x, the amplitude of E ray ka square. And we have calculated this value. E0y is basically how much? That is A by 2. So I can further write A by 2 ka whole square divided by E0x. We have calculated that is root 3 A by 2. So I can write root 3 A by 2 ka whole square. Okay. So this 2 will be cancelled, A will be cancelled, right? And simply 1 by root 3 ka square. So it will be 1 by 3. So ratio of intensity of O ray to that of E ray, that is basically how much? 1 by 3. Is this clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now problem number 2. इतना आप लोगों का हो गया? Have you solved this, everyone?
Sir.
Shall I erase?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, second problem. So when second problem is also interesting, and this second problem is basically MCQ based, MSQ based question. Second problem is basically MSQ based. So problem is, you can write also, when light passes through a double refracting medium, it splits into two beams called O ray and E ray. Okay, full stop. Identify the correct options. Okay. So first option that is, they have given that intensity of both rays are equal. Okay. Second, option B, refractive index R dot I, refractive index of O ray is constant. Option C, refractive index R dot I of E ray is constant. And option D, both rays are polarized. क्या इंटेंसिटी बोथ रेज का सेम हो सकता है? हाँ, अभी हम लोगों ने कैलकुलेट किया था, इंटेंसिटी कितना आया था अभी? How much intensity ratio you have obtained for O ray and E ray? 1/3, right?
2/3.
So basically intensity किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा? एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, थीटा के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा, क्योंकि जो एम्पलीट्यूड है ई रे एंड ओ रे किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? बेसिकली दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन कोसाइन थीटा और साइन थीटा, राइट? सो एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ E ray as well as O ray basically depends upon angle of incident, right? And we know that intensity is nothing but amplitude square. So obviously the intensity, if you calculate the ratio of intensity of O ray to that of ratio of intensity of E ray, you will basically get, अब calculate करना, देखना इसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा, IO by IE, that will be tan square theta. चेक करना इसको, ठीक है? तो इंटेंसिटी बोथ रेस का इक्वल कब होगा? जब थीटा इक्वल्स टू कितना होगा? जब इंसिडेंट एंगल 45 है तभी बोथ रेस का इंटेंसिटी सेम है. बट इट इज नॉट ऑलवेज इंटेंसिटी ऑफ बोथ रेस आर इक्वल, राइट? एक पर्टिकुलर एंगल में इक्वल हो सकते हैं. वो कौन सा एंगल में? जब आपका tan थीटा 1 के बराबर हो. कौन सा एंगल है वो? थीटा इक्वल्स टू 45. बट इन अदर्स एंगल this will not be same, so this is not correct. Refractive index of O ray is constant, is this correct? So we know refractive index किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? refractive index of O ray is nothing but C, speed of light divided by velocity of O ray in a crystal. That we know. Refractive index of O ray is nothing but speed of light divided by velocity of O ray in the crystal. अब हमको पता है कि O ray का जो स्पीड होता है in the crystal, that is constant, that is independent on direction. चाहे कोई भी डायरेक्शन में आपका O ray पास हो, its speed is basically what? It is constant. So if speed is constant of O ray in all directions, suppose this is your double refracting crystal, so whatever direction that O ray is going, in every direction the speed of O ray is basically what? It is constant. So what I can say, if C is basically constant, if V is constant, what I can say, the refractive index of O ray, obviously it will be constant. But this is not true. Option C is not true, because we know the refractive index of E ray is, again I can write Cy, velocity of E ray in media in crystal. But this V is not constant inside that crystal. We know that V is depends upon direction of motion, right? हर एक direction में अलग अलग होता है, right? So if V is not constant, it is depend upon the direction of motion. So what I can say, obviously refractive index of E ray will not be constant. Okay, and we already have discussed that both E rays and O rays, they are basically what? They are basically plane polarized. That we know. So what is the correct options? Options B will be correct as well as option C will D will be correct. Is this clear to all what I am saying? Is this part clear? Okay. Shall I erase? So please keep in mind, please do this homework. It's a very simple homework, but you have to do this homework. Okay. You have to prove that ratio of intensity depends upon tan square theta. Okay, please do it. It's a very simple mathematics. Shall I erase?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now problem number 3. Problem number 3. Okay. Suppose you have a calcite crystal. Suppose this is your calcite crystal. Okay. Okay. And this is the normal. This is the normal. Now a unpolarized light. The unpolarized light is incident at an angle of 50 degree. This angle is given 50 degree. And this is your basically unpolarized light. And basically when it is incident at this calcite crystal, it basically splits into two components. One will be called what? One will be called O ray and other will be called E ray. So this is basically your O ray and this is called E ray. Okay. And the refractive index of this medium is given, that is 1. Okay. And refractive index for O ray inside calcite crystal, that is given. Refractive index of O ray inside calcite crystal, that is given as 1.6584. Okay. And refractive index of E ray inside this calcite crystal is given as 1.4866. Okay. So these are the parameters given. A unpolarized light is incident on calcite crystal at an angle of 50 degree. The refractive index of this medium is given, that is n equals to 1. Okay, that ray that is coming from this medium having refractive index is how much? 1. And when it when this ray is refracted inside this crystal, you will have two rays. One is called O ray and another is called E ray. Okay, and refractive index of both rays are different and that values are given actually. So what you have to calculate? You have to calculate that angular separation between these two rays. This angle you have to calculate. So can you please tell me from this value of refractive index, what type of crystal is this? किस तरह की crystal है? Is this positive crystal or negative crystal? Can you please tell me? So your voice is not clear, Rajkishore. Can you? Yes.
Negative crystal, sir.
Obviously negative crystal. Why? So very good. Because for negative crystal, Ne will be greater, right? Yes. So for negative crystal, Ne will be greater than No, right? In other words, what I can say, for negative crystal, velocity of किसका ज्यादा होता है? Sorry, I'm extremely sorry. For negative crystal, Ne will be smaller as compared to No. In other words, what I can say, that velocity of E ray will be greater as compared to velocity of O ray. Extremely sorry. Because for velocity in negative crystal, velocity will be larger. Velocity of E ray will be larger as compared to velocity of O ray. In other words, refractive index of E ray will be smaller as compared to refractive index of O ray. So this is actually negative crystal, okay, from that given parameter. Now if I apply Snell's law for E ray. For E ray I'll apply. Now for E ray, let us assume this angle. This angle, let us assume that angle of refraction. I'll take this angle as theta E. Okay. And for O ray, I will take that angle of refraction that I'll take, that is theta of O. Okay. So if I apply this Snell's law for E ray, what I can write? For incident medium, I can write n on into sin I. Sin I is how much? 50 degree, right? That should be equals to n e into sine of theta e. I can write, right? And n on is given, that is how much? On. So what I can write, that sine of theta e, that should be equals to how much? Sine 50 degree divided by n e. Okay. So sine 50 degree, if you calculate this value, you'll basically get 0.766, and n is given, that is 1.4866. Okay, it means theta e will be how much? Theta e will be sine inverse 0.766 divided by 1.4866. Okay, and if you calculate this value, basically you will get 31.02 degree. Okay. Okay. So this is about theta e. Now you have to calculate angle of refraction for theta O also, for O ray also. Now again, if I apply that Snell's law for O ray, if I apply Snell's law for O ray, what I can write? Sine 50 degree, that should be equals to how much? That will be NO sine of theta O. It means sine of theta O, that should be equals to how much? Sine 50, that is 0.766 divided by NO, that is 1.6584. It means if we calculate theta O from here, how much I'll get? Sine inverse of 0.766 divided by 1.6584. Okay. So if you calculate this value, basically you'll get, I have calculated, you will get 27.51 degree. Okay. You get 27.5. Is this part clear? So what is the angle of separation? Angle of separation will be how much? Delta theta. कितना होगा बताओ? Any on? So it will be theta e.
Theta e minus theta o.
Exactly. So how much you are getting? Can you please check? So 31.02 minus 27.51. कितना आ रहा है? How much you are getting? Can you please check and tell me?
The 3.51.
Exactly. Very good. 3.51 degree. Is this part clear to all? Is this part clear to all?
Yes, sir.
So this is your problem number 3. कोई डाउट है इसमें किसी का? Can you able to solve if that this type of question asked in JAM? हो जाएगा?
Yes, sir.
Shall I raise?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now problem number 4. जैसे जैसे आप लोगों का कोर्स होता जा रहा है ना, आप रिवाइज करो अच्छे से ना. and I am expecting if people ask me question after class also, then I can understand now, because our job is to give you how much you can take. Okay, so please solve the questions as much as you can. Okay, and you ask me question outside that class also if you have question. Okay, so this is we have solved 3 problems. Now problem number 4. So the problem number 4 is, let me write that sentence also. A light composed of three phasors. Okay, three phasors that is given: P1 equals to A, P2 equals to A by 2 exponential I theta, and P3 equals to A by 2 exponential minus I theta. Okay, so question, what is the question? What will be the intensity of this light? कितना intensity होगा इस light का बताओ? The light composed of three phasors. That phasors is given. Okay, so how much intensity would be? कितना हो जाएगा बताओ? How will solve? So can you please tell me how much will be the amplitude of this ray? How much will be the amplitude? How much will be the amplitude of this ray? So amplitude of any ray is basically sum of the phasors. Amplitude of any rays can be written as sum of the phasors. P1 plus P2 plus P3. Okay. So I can write total amplitude A will be nothing but P1 is A, P2 is A by 2 exponential I theta, and P3 is basically A by 2 exponential minus I theta. Okay. So from second and third term, if I take A by 2 common, then you will get exponential I theta plus exponential minus I theta. And that will be how much? If you take A by 2 common from these two terms, you will get basically exponential I theta into plus exponential minus I theta. So that will be how much? Twice cos theta, right? So basically second and third term will give you A into cosine theta. Is this clear? Please check. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you got this resultant amplitude, and further if I take A common, so if you take A common, how much you will get? 1 plus cos theta, and 1 plus cos theta can be written as what? I can write like twice cos square theta by 2. Twice cos square theta by 2. Okay. So what will be the intensity? Intensity is nothing but mod of A square. Mod of A square. So basically it will be 4A square cosine to the power 4 theta by 2. Cosine to the power 4 theta by 2. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is problem number 4. Shall I erase this part?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now problem number 5. Okay. So suppose a light having electric field is given. Suppose a light having electric field is given that is incident on quarter wave plate. That is incident on quarter wave plate. So what you have to calculate? You have to calculate that possible direction of first axis of this quarter wave plate, so that it will convert this light into circularly polarized light. So we know that quarter wave plate basically what will do? The job of quarter wave plate is what basically? It will basically create that phase difference between O ray and E ray. That will be how much? कितना phase difference
lambda
create
by
करता
4.
है? phase difference कितना होता है? Pi by 2. ठीक है, कितना phase difference create करता है? So if you shine plane polarized light on this quarter wave plate, then emerging E ray and O ray, the phase difference between emerging E ray and O ray will be how much? That will be pi by 2. Or you can say phase difference pi by 2, path difference कितना होता है? Lambda by 4. ठीक है, and we know that for getting circularly polarized light, phase difference कितना होना चाहिए? pi by 2 ही होना चाहिए दो रे के बीच में. बट उसके साथ एक और कंडीशन है, क्या है? थीटा, एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंट वो कितना होना चाहिए? हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था, राइट? कि दो रे के बीच में जब फेज डिफरेंस पाई बाई 2 हो और एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंट अगर 45 डिग्री हो, then you will get basically what? You will basically get circularly polarized light. That we have discussed in one case, right? In previous class, if you remember. Is this remember? Are you remembering this thing? If you
Yes, sir.
remember, in one cases I have discussed this part. If delta is pi by 2 and theta is 45 degree, then emerging ray will be what? It will be circularly polarized light. ठीक है, तो थीटा कितना होना चाहिए? 45 डिग्री होना चाहिए. ठीक है, और क्वार्टर वेव प्लेट तो गिवन है, इसका मतलब दोनों के बीच में फेज डिफरेंस कितना होना चाहिए? कितना करेगा वो? पाई बाई 2 करेगा. अब यहाँ पे क्या बोले हैं? पॉसिबल डायरेक्शन ऑफ फास्ट एक्सिस. अच्छा, फास्ट एक्सिस क्या होता है? So what that question they have given? They have given that electric field of incident ray, that is a function of basically Z and T. The electric field of incident ray that is given A, that electric field is nothing but A into 3I plus 4J exponential I omega T minus Kz. So this is the electric field of incident ray. This electric field is incident on quarter wave plate. And what you have to calculate? You have to calculate that possible direction of first axis of this quarter wave plate so that it will convert this light into circularly polarized light. So, and they have given this option that possible direction of first axis as A equals to, A is given as, let me write, 1 by root 2, 7I plus J, 7I plus J, as well as they have given another possible direction of first axis, that is basically 1 by root 2 I minus, sorry, I plus 7J. Please be careful about this problem. This problem is really interesting. So can this be the possible direction of first axis so that it can convert this light into circularly polarized light? You have to check that. Another option is given, that is 1 by root 2, 1 by root 2 3I plus 4J. So this is again, this is your A. Okay, A equals to 1 by root 2 3I plus 4J. And another first axis, sorry, yes, another first axis is given, that is 1 by root 2 4I minus 3J. Okay, and option C, can A be the first axis? A is given 1 by root 2 3I minus 4J, and B is given, that is 1 by root 2 4I plus 3J. Okay, and D is none of this. D is none of this. D is none of this. ठीक है. Now before solving this question, what is actually first axis? क्या first axis क्या होता है? How will define this first axis actually? So you know, a double quarter wave plate is nothing but double refracting crystal, right? And if you remember, there are two type of double refracting crystal. One is called positive crystal and another called negative crystal, right? Another is called negative crystal. So first axis basically the axis in which the speed of P ray is maximum. the axis in which the speed of E ray is maximum. ठीक है, तो अगर कोई आपका नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल हो, सपोज यू हैव ए नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल, तो फास्ट एक्सिस कौन सा होगा? Suppose you have a negative crystal. If you remember, I have drawn this profile for positive crystal as well as negative crystal. So if your crystal is negative, then fast axis will be corresponds to optic axis. Do you remember this plot? Wave front for negative crystal. क्या क्या था हमने? Sorry, I am making mistake. So for negative crystal, actually VE क्या होता है actually? VE is greater than VO होता है, right? Sorry, there is a misconception here. So for negative crystal A होता है, right? इसका प्रोफाइल किस तरह की होता है? If you remember, किस तरह की प्रोफाइल होता है? सपोज ये आपका ओ का ओ रे का प्रोफाइल है, तो ई रे का प्रोफाइल किस तरह की बनता है? डू यू रिमेम्बर दिस थिंग? क्या आप लोग को याद है ये? तो बेसिकली this, if you remember, this axis I have taken that axis actually parallel to what? Sorry, that axis is perpendicular to. So this axis I have taken optic axis, if you remember. So for E ray, sorry, for negative crystal, the fast axis will be what? That will be perpendicular to optic axis. Okay, and for positive crystal, that the fast axis will be what? That will be parallel to optic axis. Just check that wave front. We have discussed this part. Just check that wave front. We have drawn this. So fast axis means the axis at which the speed of E ray is maximum. So from this profile you can see this direction. In this direction, E ray will have maximum speed. So this axis is basically fast axis, and this is the case for negative crystal, and for positive crystal it will be, this will be the fast axis, because in this direction for positive crystal the speed of E ray will be maximum. Now come to the question. एक क्रिस्टल को ले लो, पहले आप नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल को ले लो, अच्छा नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल को ले लो। अब बताओ नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल में मैंने क्या बताया था? सपोज मान लो अगर डबल रिफ्रैक्टिंग क्रिस्टल बनाऊं, सपोज दिस इज योर डबल रिफ्रैक्टिंग क्रिस्टल, ओके, दिस एक्सिस इज ऑप्टिक एक्सिस। सो फास्ट एक्सिस कौन सा होगा? ये वाला फास्ट एक्सिस होगा नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल के लिए, राइट? Suppose this is your double refracting crystal. So if I am taking this is as a optic axis, so obviously first axis of double refracting crystal is perpendicular to the optic axis. Just we have discussed. ठीक है, तो सर्कुलरली पोलराइज के लिए क्या होना चाहिए आपका? दिस एंगल विल बी हाउ मच? ये एंगल कितना होना चाहिए बताओ? This angle will be how much? This should be 45 degree, right? This angle will be 45 degree. So if this is 45 degree, then the angle between the electric field oscillation and fast axis ये कितना होना चाहिए? ये भी 45 degree होना चाहिए, right? Because this is total is how much? 90 degree. So if this angle is 45 degree, obviously this angle will be 45 degree. So it means the angle between, to convert this light into circularly polarized light, the angle between fast axis and electric field oscillation. इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का ऑसिलेशन का डायरेक्शन क्या है? ये है इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का ऑसिलेशन का डायरेक्शन. द एंगल बिटवीन फर्स्ट एक्सिस, angle between the direction of first axis and direction of oscillation of electric field, that will be how much? That should be 45 degree. So just I have taken that example for negative crystal. You can take this example for positive crystal also, and again you will get to convert this light into circularly polarized light, that angle between first axis and electric field oscillation, that should be 45 degree. Please check that also. So I'm taking for negative crystal. You can check this for positive crystal also. You will get same result. Okay. Now how will calculate that angle between this vector and this vector? कैसे calculate करोगे? So I know this formula. Cosine theta is nothing but what? So let us take this is as a E naught. This is as a E naught vector. So angle between this vector and this vector, how will calculate? So cosine theta is nothing but E naught into A divided by mod E naught mod A. That's how we used to calculate that angle between two vectors, right? ठीक है. So अगर suppose मान लो मेरा जो फर्स्ट एक्सिस का जो डायरेक्शन है मैं ये वाला पहले ले रहा हूँ. आई एम चेकिंग दिस ऑप्शन फर्स्ट. तो अगर ई नॉट का वैल्यू कितना है आपका? ई नॉट का है आपका a इंटू 3i प्लस 4j. ओके. एंड यू हैव a is given, that is 1 by root 2 7i plus j 7i plus j, and mod E naught will be how much? Mod E naught, simply if you take mod of this, so basically I'll get a into square root of 3 square plus 4 square, 9 plus 16, that will be 25, and mod a, that will be how much? That will be 1 by, that will be how much? Anyone? That will be 1 by root 2, right? 1 by root 2 into square root of 7 square plus on, that will be 50. That will be how much? 50, right? Okay. So if you calculate this value, how much you are getting? Can you please check? So this a will be cancelled. Okay. 1 by root 2 you have in the numerator, and 3 into 7, 41 plus, sorry, 21 plus 4, 25. So in numerator you will have 25 by root 2 from this. Okay, 25 by root 2 from this upper part. Now can you check from lower part how much you are getting? So from lower part you will basically get simply 25. Just check. So it will be cancelled. You will basically get 1 by root 2. Okay. So it means theta will be how much? Theta will be 45 degree. So if I am taking this A as a direction of first axis, then it can convert this ray to circularly polarized light. Now again there is another first axis is given in every option. There are two that first axis is given for every option. So just I have checked for A. Now I have to check for B also. Again I have to apply this rule. So if I take again, if I calculate that angle between E naught and B, so again I have to use same formula. Cosine theta will be how much? That will be E naught into B divided by mod E naught into mod B. So if you calculate this, just you calculate it, again you will get this value will be 1 by root 2. So it means theta will be 45 degree. So it means correct option will be A. If you check other option, they will not give this angle 45 degree. Okay. So to convert any light into circularly polarized light for quarter wave plate, the direction between first axis and the direction of electric field oscillation, that should be that angle between these two, angle between this and direction of first axis, that should be 45 degree, whether it is positive crystal or negative crystal. Okay, please keep in mind. So how we will calculate that angle between these two rays? Just you have to take dot product, right? This thing we know. Okay, so this way you have to solve the problem, and this kind of problem may ask in that next exam. So is this clear? How will calculate that angle and why this? Yes.
सर, तो इस क्वेश्चन में ए और बी जो है वो क्या है?
Capital A.
हाँ सर.
Yes, this is actually capital A representing the direction of first axis, And again, B also representing the direction of first axis. B is also representing the direction of first axis. है ना? मतलब एक फर्स्ट एक्सिस सपोज मान लो ये है ना, उसका पैरेलल कोई भी आपका फर्स्ट एक्सिस हो सकता है ना. देयर कैन बी मेनी डायरेक्शन. आई मीन फर्स्ट ये एक क्रिस्टल में एक फर्स्ट एक्सिस नहीं होता है. देयर कैन बी मेनी अदर फर्स्ट एक्सिस आल्सो, राइट? So this A and B, they are basically what? They are basically the direction of first axis. Okay. So is this is in this way you have to solve this problem. So is this problem clear to all? If you have doubt, please tell me, because this kind of question may ask. एक एक करके बताओ.
Excuse me, sir.
हाँ, yes.
Sir, can you please read out how it was given in the paper?
How it was given in the paper? Means I am not getting actually. What are you asking?
Sir, वो लिखा हुआ कैसे आया था मतलब?
हाँ, मैं again I am repeating. Suppose a ray, a light having electric field E is this much, is incident on quarter wave plate. Is incident on quarter wave plate. So you have to choose the direction of first axis from 4 options. Among 4 options, you have to choose the direction of first axis, so that this direction of first axis will convert this light into circularly polarized light. That is the question. So you have to choose the direction of first axis of this quarter wave plate, so that it can convert this incident light into circularly polarized light. Now कैसे हमने किए हैं ये वाला आप लोगों को क्लियर है सबको? Can you please tell me everyone one by one?
Yes, sir.
सर
सबको?
ये सर्कुलरली पोलराइज्ड इसलिए ये थीटा 45 डिग्री है.
एग्जैक्टली सर्कुलरली के लिए मैंने वही समझा रहा था आपको ना. सपोज मान लो ये आपका नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल के लिए मैंने क्या बताया था? नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल के लिए जो आपका फर्स्ट एक्सिस का डायरेक्शन होगा, दैट शुड बी परपेंडिकुलर टू ऑप्टिक एक्सिस. देयर शुड नॉट बी डाउट. ये आपका नेगेटिव क्रिस्टल का ऑप्टिक एक्सिस का डायरेक्शन है. ये आपका क्या है? द डायरेक्शन ऑफ फर्स्ट एक्सिस, क्योंकि यहाँ पे आपका लार्ज डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल कर रहा है ये. ओके. अब सर्कुलरली पोलराइज के लिए आप लोगों को हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया, जो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंट विद ऑप्टिक एक्सिस कितना होना चाहिए? 45 डिग्री होना चाहिए. ठीक है. सो ऑब्वियसली द एंगल बिटवीन इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड ऑसिलेशन का डायरेक्शन क्या है? यहाँ पे ये है. सो एंगल बिटवीन इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड ऑसिलेशन एंड फर्स्ट एक्सिस, दैट विल बी हाउ मच? दैट शुड बी 45 डिग्री, बिकॉज दे आर बेसिकली परपेंडिकुलर. सो इफ दिस एंगल इज 45 डिग्री, ऑब्वियसली ये आपका 45 होना चाहिए. ठीक है. अब आपको पता है इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का डायरेक्शन. यू नो द ऑसिलेशन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इन व्हिच डायरेक्शन दैट इज गिवन. आल्सो दे हैव गिवन द direction of first axis. So we know how to calculate the angle between two vectors, right? Just you have to take dot product. In that way I have calculated. So very simple, just simple concept is there, right? That theta should be 45 degree, nothing is there, right? Is this clear to all? क्या इतना आप लोगों को
Yes, sir.
clear है सबको? Okay. Now I have to do more problems.
Yes, sir.
If it is clear, we have to go. Shall I erase this part? Okay. Now problem number 6. Now problem number 6. Okay. So suppose you have a unpolarized light. You have a unpolarized light, and intensity of this unpolarized light, UPL means unpolarized light. The intensity of this light is given to Y0. And this light is incident on a polarizer P. And path axis of this polarizer or polarization axis is along this direction. Okay. And then you have a quarter wave plate. You have a quarter wave plate. Okay. This is your quarter wave plate. And the optic axis of quarter wave plate is making angle 45 degree with respect to what? The path axis of, this is the path axis of polarizer. So the optic axis of quarter wave plate is actually making angle 45 degree. With respect to what? With respect to path axis of polarizer P. So you have to calculate the intensity of ray crossing this quarter wave plate. It's a very simple problem. Now, when this ray will pass through this polarizer, यहाँ पे कितना इंटेंसिटी आ जाएगा बताओ? कितना इंटेंसिटी आएगा यहाँ पे? हाँ? If the intensity of incident unpolarized light is 2I0, so intensity basically कितना हो जाता है जब आपका पोलराइजर से पास होता है? So it will be I0. Good. यहाँ पे इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का डायरेक्शन ऑफ ऑसिलेशन किधर हो जाएगा? इस तरह की, राइट? ठीक है ना? So direction of oscillation of electric field actually will be parallel to the path axis of polarizer P. Okay. Okay. Now, when this ray is incident on this quarter wave plate, then what will happen? क्या हो जाएगा बताओ? It will split into two components, right? So if you see carefully, the angle between direction of इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड एंड ऑप्टिक एक्सिस कितना एंगल है ये जो आपका रे इसमें इंसिडेंट हो रहा है? सो इंसिडेंट रे का इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड का ऑसिलेशन और ऑप्टिक एक्सिस के बीच में एंगल कितना है? 45 degree. So you know when that ray is quarter wavelet is nothing but double refracting crystal. So it will split into two rays, right? One will be what? So यहाँ पे सपोज मान लो जो रे है इंसिडेंट रे का एम्पलीट्यूड मानो E नॉट, इंसिडेंट रे का एम्पलीट्यूड मानो E नॉट. So when this ray is incident on this plate, it will split into two rays, right? One will be parallel to optic axis. This will be called what? This will be called E ray, right? इसका एम्पलीट्यूड कितना हो जाएगा? E नॉट कोसाइन ऑफ 45 डिग्री, राइट? E नॉट कोसाइन ऑफ 45 डिग्री. और एक आपका क्या हो जाएगा? एक परपेंडिकुलर कंपोनेंट भी रहेगा इसका, राइट? ठीक है ना?
Yes,
उसको
sir.
क्या बोलते हैं? ओ रे बोलते हैं. उसका ओ रे का जो एम्पलीट्यूड हो जाएगा कितना हो जाएगा? E नॉट साइन ऑफ 45 डिग्री. ठीक है, ठीक है. ये आपका जो एम्पलीट्यूड है किसका है? ये इंसिडेंट रे का एम्पलीट्यूड है. मतलब इंसिडेंट ई रे और इंसिडेंट ओ रे का एम्पलीट्यूड है. वो कितना है? ई नॉट कोसाइन 45 डिग्री फॉर ई रे एंड ई नॉट साइन 45 डिग्री फॉर ओ रे. अब जब ये दोनों रे क्वार्टर वेव प्लेट को पास करेगा तो इनके बीच में क्या हो जाएगा? एक फेज डिफरेंस क्रिएट होगा. इनके बीच में एक फेज डिफरेंस क्रिएट होगा, राइट? Am I correct or wrong? When this ray is passing through this quarter wave plate, there will be phase difference between emerging E ray and O ray. That will be how much? Delta will be how much?
pi/2.
pi/2. अच्छा, तो जो रे पास हो रहा है उसके लिए आप एम्पलीट्यूड कितना, रिजल्टेंट एम्पलीट्यूड कितना लिखोगे? ये आपका इस तरह के फॉर्म में आ जाएगा. E नॉट साइन 45 डिग्री इनटू एक्सपोनेंशियल, इस तरह के हम लोगों ने यंग डबल स्लिट में भी किए हैं, प्लस E नॉट कोसाइन ऑफ 45. ये आपका resultant amplitude of rays, that is E ray and O ray, that is crossing this quarter wave plate. क्या ये वाला पार्ट आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है? अच्छे से देखो, अगर डाउट है तो पूछ लो क्योंकि ये इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके लिए. क्या ये वाला पार्ट क्लियर है आप लोगों को? The incident E ray and O ray will have amplitude that will be E naught cosine 45 degree and E naught sine 45 degree. But when these rays are crossing through this quarter wave plate, there will be an additional phase difference that will be delta. Delta will be how much? For quarter wave plate, it is pi/2. So for any delta, the resultant amplitude of emerging ray, what I can write, the incident and amplitude, you have to multiply this phase factor also. This thing we have done, if you remember, in young double slit also. When two rays are crossing, if there is a phase difference between two rays of delta, then you have to take that delta into account also for resultant amplitude. Is this part clear? Please take check it carefully. ये आपका रिजल्टेंट रे का जो रे है आपका इमर्जिंग रे, उसका एम्पलीट्यूड इतना हो जाएगा. प्लीज चेक इट केयरफुली. इफ यू हैव क्वेश्चन प्लीज आस्क मी.
सर ये फेज फैक्टर आइटा डेल्टा कैसे एड हुआ?
देखो भाई, आपको यंग डबल स्लिट में याद है, एक आपका S1 से जा रहा था, एक आपका S2 से जा रहा था, याद है आपको, है ना?
सर
अब हाँ, अब दो रे के बीच में जब सपोज मान लो फेज डिफरेंस डेल्टा हो गया दो रे के बीच में, तो हम लोगों ने किस तरह से इसका रिजल्टेंट एम्पलीट्यूड लिख रहे थे? रिजल्ट एम्पलीट्यूड कितना लिख रहे थे? सपोज मान लो इसका S1 से जो रे जा रहा था उसका एम्पलीट्यूड A1 और इसका सपोज मान लो A2. इफ यू रिमेंबर, you have to write like this, A1 plus A2 exponential I delta. ठीक है, दो रे है ना? अब दो रे का बीच में अगर फेज डिफरेंस सपोज मान लो पाई हो गया, सपोज मान लो इफ यू रिमेंबर, दो जो रे है सपोज मान लो दो रे है, दोनों के बीच में अगर फेज डिफरेंस पाई हो गया, सपोज मान लो एक रे है उसका एम्पलीट्यूड A1 है, दूसरे का एम्पलीट्यूड A2 है. अब दो रे के बीच में फेज डिफरेंस आपका पाई है, तो आपका रिजल्टेंट एम्पलीट्यूड कितना लिखते हो आप? दो रे के बीच में फेज डिफरेंस अगर पाई है मतलब दोनों आउट ऑफ फेज है, तो इस केस में आपका रिजल्टेंट एम्पलीट्यूड कितना हो जाता है? A1 माइनस A2 हो जाता है ना? अगर दोनों इन फेज है तो इसके बीच में आपका रिजल्टेंट एम्पलीट्यूड कितना हो जाता है? A1 प्लस A2 हो जाता है, राइट? ऐसे तो हम लिखते हैं. ये एक्चुअली आते कहाँ से? आते इस तरह से है. इसका जनरल जो फॉर्मूला है, रिजल्टेंट एम्पलीट्यूड इज नथिंग बट A1 प्लस A2 एक्सपोनेंशियल I डेल्टा. ठीक है, तो ये डेल्टा डिसाइड करेगा whether it is constructive or destructive. So you have to take this delta when there is a phase difference between these two rays. So that's why I have considered this phase factor, because when they are passing these two rays, there will be some phase difference also. So this difference you have to take into account, and this is general formula. This is general formula. यहाँ पे आपका ये काम में नहीं आएगा. क्यों काम में नहीं आएगा बताओ? क्योंकि यहाँ पे आपका डेल्टा का वैल्यू कितना आया है? Delta is basically how much? Pi by 2. So this exponential I delta will give you how much? It will give you on. Exponential I pi by 2 कितना होता है? On होता है. ठीक है, तो आपका रिजल्टेंट कितना मिल जाएगा यहाँ पे? E0 by root 2 divide by plus E0 by root 2. Right? E0 by root 2 plus E0 by root 2. Right? Is this clear?
यस सर.
Okay. Now you do this rest of the part. हाँ, इसका इंटेंसिटी कितना आएगा ये कैलकुलेट करो आप और मेरे को भेजना. तो आपका दो होमवर्क है आज. क्या क्या है? एक आपका IO by IE, ये कितना था? tan square theta, that you have to prove. And this thing also, how much intensity you are getting from this formula, that you have to tell me. Okay, can you able to do? So you do it and share it with me. Okay, I'll check this part. Okay, so next class we'll go to the diffraction. Okay, we have two more problems solved, then we'll go to diffraction. Okay, someone was trying to say something but the voice is not audible. Can you any others, can you please repeat? Rajkishore, you want to say something? Your voice is not audible actually.
Okay sir.
Okay, I'm not getting Rajkishore. You can chat with me also. Okay.
Okay sir.
Okay. Okay, I'm leaving.
Thank you sir. Good night sir.
Sir.